Welcome everyone to Progressive Discussions, Uncensored Saturdays, Open Topic Talk. I'm your host, James P. Madonna, and it is, let's see, I say it's the second show of May 2025. I hope everyone had a good week. We are finally getting beautiful spring weather, not too cold, not too warm, dry, clear, sunny, and breezy today. For dinner, I had some Thai food. I had lamb with red curry with basmati rice, over basmati rice, and it was very good. I'm going to have a sip of my wine here. Pinot Noir. The Pinot Noir grape has the highest antioxidant content of all of the grapes as far as trans resveratrol and oligomeric proanthocyanidins. Excellent. My favorite wine glass. From the Dollar Tree. And yes, you can find one of your own, just like mine. Right? Thick, heavy duty, cut glass, very decorative. All right? Just go to the Dollar Tree. You see how nice I am? A nice left-wing socialist I am, not trying to make money like Donald Trump, not trying to sell merchandise, not trying to sell my own special line of wine glasses. I'm telling you where to go to get one cheap. That's how much of a nice guy I am. we are live streaming on YouTube and Twitch. So if there are any YouTubers and Twitchers out there that have any topics that you want to bring up, and if you want to vent about anything, you can do so. But I have a new rule. I am going to periodically take a look at the commentaries, but I'm going to keep it closed for most of the first, let's say, hour and a half when I do my serious topics, because I have been getting right-wing trolls that have been trying to disrupt and sabotage my show. Okay. This is why I will not bring anyone on at the beginning of the show, because the last time I had a co-host, a person who, well, they used to claim to be a centrist, but I think they are a right-winger. I got the truth out of the person, and the person admitted that they were a racist. And I had a big problem with this individual, and this individual has done it in the past, kept on interrupting and trying to talk over all of my progressive videos and articles in the first serious section of the show, and tried and pretty much did disrupt the progressive left-wing valuable hard-hitting truth at the beginning of the show. And I am not going to allow that to happen, because I'm not going to have any co-hosts or guests during the first serious section of the show. Okay. I noticed how a whole bunch of people came on to see what the show is about. And as soon as I started talking about important, serious things, they left, because they weren't being entertained. And these are the same people that probably were too busy with their selfish lives to vote this past November. Okay, they were too busy and preoccupied with their own little world, and did not vote. And that's why we have a not only a Republican a government in Washington, but a fascist government in Washington, and an insane fascist government in Washington. And thanks to you, you selfish Americans that did not find it important to vote. This past November, tens of millions of people did not bother to vote. What happened to all the angry women that were worried about their rights being taken away from them? What happened to them? They certainly did not make it their business to vote. What happened to all of the young people that first registered to vote for the first time, their first time registering? They were very anxious to get out there and vote for the first time, and they make it their business to attend the rallies because it's something to do. It's a place to go where there's thousands of people. They treat it like it was Woodstock, like it was a big outdoor jamboree, a shindig, a party. The kids show up for that, just like with Occupy Wall Street. Remember that fiasco that never went anywhere because there were no leadership? Well, Occupy Wall Street. The kids were camping out. They were camping out on the side of the street, like a bunch of hippies at Woodstock. They, they had no serious intention. Mr. Ed Krasenstein, how are you, sir? Greetings, fellow progressive. Oh, finally, a true progressive that is not here to troll and sabotage an ultra left wing democratic socialist show. Yes, I come out with it. I'm proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't give a shit what all these fake, phony, fraud, so-called patriots, so-called flag-waving patriots have to say. But what they are in reality is fascist stormtroopers, brown shirts for Donald Trump. Thank you, the one and only, the legendary Ed Krasenstein. Will you be showing the presentation that the great senator from Connecticut speech he gave? I'm not familiar with that. Is it possible for you to? I might, you know what? I might have it, but I'm not familiar with it. So could you please post the link here in the commentary section so I can go to it and I can bring it up on the screen share? But I will begin with what I call the first one is Trump poopy pants. Yes, Trump poopy pants is Trump poopy pants. I give everything nicknames, but let me just bring this up. This is the first topic. Trump poopy pants. Let's see. Let's see. I always check to see if I can make it full screen, but apparently not. Well,
What's the deal? This is the main question I need to know. What's the deal with the diaper rumors?
Oh, that's true. Sorry to cut you off.
When you say it's true, like on a scale of like 1 to 10, I definitely absolutely know what.
Witnessed, bro. Witnessed him soiling himself in a rage, sitting there on the Apprentice set, Celebrity Apprentice set, because he can't read. The same thing. He flew into a rage over the word arbitrage one time. Okay.
Yeah.
Soils himself, has to go off set, gets cleaned up by Keith Schiller. Keith's nickname was Wet Wipes. Okay. The crew called it the shit show. Sorry to curse, but can you imagine being the boom operator? You're wearing your headphones, holding the mic above him, and you hear that? He did it in the Oval Office. There's a clip of him doing it with the Turkish president, right? Erdogan. I always say his name wrong. It's not a hard G. Yeah. And the Feinstein and Dianne Feinstein. And they're sitting there in the Oval Office, and he clearly, has some kind of bowel movement. But you can, and you see them look like they hear it. But you can look up videos, your viewers can look it up, and you'll find photos of him with the outline of Depends. And I'll tell you why he wears that. Because speed addiction makes you incontinent, right? Opiates make you the opposite, make you constipated. Speed makes you go, right? So he eats fast food all day and meatloaf, like that's all he ever eats, sorry for the graphics, and then he snorts speed, and he's almost 70 years old at the time. He's in his mid 60s. So he just lets it rip, and you never know, so you got to have some insurance against the shark.
And he makes fun of he mocks Joe Biden. Unbelievable. And that was then. That was during Celebrity Apprentice. But this is interesting. It's not always about Trump. Lots of times it's about science and technology, the environment, consumer topics. This has to do with Japan's Charwood home building. Excuse me. Hey, what's going on here, man? Old Zuckerberg. He always mutes the audio. He doesn't mute the video, but he mutes the audio. Don't understand why that is. I mean, you might as well not automatically play the video if you're going to mute the audio. Let's see. Christopher Murphy, that's the senator from Connecticut. He gave a report on Trump's first 100 days. You know, I should look that up, really. I should look that up. Tommy Carroll, hello. Welcome to the new week. I hope you had a great week. Greetings, Comrade Madonna. Do you agree Dollar Tree should be owned by the people like a cooperative? Yeah. And I also personally know two people that work for the Dollar Tree, which is doing quite well, by the way. Very prosperous corporate chain. And they are still underpaid with lousy, and I'm putting it mildly, lousy benefits. Typical retail jobs with chunk change, chicken feed pay. Yep. Shame on you. Let's induct the Dollar Tree into the Chiselers Hall of Shame. My Chiselers Hall of Shame. You are hereby inducted. But I inducted them a long time ago. I gave you the link. Could you open it? Wait a minute. Where did you send the link, sir? The video is on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes, and your viewers need to see it. Okay. All right, hold on, please. Well, you know what? Let me play this, and I will go hunting for what you said. Senator Christopher Murphy of Connecticut. Here we go.
Ever wondered why Japanese homes often feature charred wood? It's more than just an aesthetic choice. The technique, called sho sugi-ban, dates back to centuries ago and serves a variety of practical purposes. This method involves burning the surface of wood, typically cedar, to create a protective carbon layer. This simple process has proven to be incredibly effective in protecting buildings from pests, fire, and weather damage. The charred surface not only prevents rot and fungal growth, but also makes the wood resistant to insects like termites. The process helps preserve the wood, eliminating the need for chemical treatments, making it eco-friendly and sustainable. The carbonized wood also provides a sleek black finish that's both modern and timeless, enhancing any structure it graces. Beyond function, shosugi-ban aligns with Japan's cultural appreciation for nature and simplicity. The technique reflects the philosophy of wabi-sabi, which embraces the beauty of imperfection. The unique texture of the charred wood tells a story and adds character to any space. The durability of shosugi-ban ensures that buildings maintain their beauty for decades with minimal maintenance. It's fire-resistant, rot-resistant, and incredibly low maintenance, offering a long-term solution for homeowners. Its popularity is growing worldwide, not only in Japan, but in modern architecture as well. Whether for residential homes or commercial buildings, Shosugi-ban is gaining popularity as a sustainable, stylish, and practical building technique. So, have you ever seen charred wood used in a building near you?
Now, this not to be confused with wasabi, the green, very strong horseradish product used in sushi. This skill has to be taught because American American carpenters with their with the type of help that they hire will burn the entire structure down, you know, and it's not good. All right, let me. What's going on here? Comrade Madonna, do you intend to join the demonstrations at the New Jersey ICE detention center with the wannabe governor? No, he is the governor of Newark, New Jersey. I say that Governor Phil Murphy you're talking about, right? Yeah, because they arrested the mayor of Newark, and the governor is there. The great progressive governor Phil Murphy, who has done quite a bit for low-income people and people that are not financially independent. He has a wonderful array of social programs, which I think are great. And I think he did a fantastic job as governor, compared to the Republican Chris Christie, who did absolutely nothing for the little guy. But I think that Governor Phil Murphy should have a meeting with all of the progressive states of the country and either secede from the Union or use the National Guard to battle the federal agents. Protesting is not going to do any good against a crazy, insane, evil fascist. All right? Now, do you see what I mean by sabotage? Yeah, he's a conservative that that a typical conservative, Ed Krasenstein, doesn't bring any proven facts or evidence to the table when they debate. They result to name calling. He is one of our resident right-wing trolls, along with the guy with an alcohol problem, Mr. Ronnie Simpson, who resides in Clearwater, Florida. He's the other right-wing troll. All right, let me try to find this. All right, Christopher Murphy. And then there's another right-wing troll, Mr. Ed Krasenstein. He goes by the name of Concerned Citizen from Twitter X. He has a large following. He always brags about his huge following on Twitter X, and they're most likely inbred right-wing rednecks. The flag-waving nationalists that they call themselves patriots, because it sounds nice. Just like a state that really doesn't believe in labor laws or workers' rights or protecting the worker, they call them right-to-work states. See, Republicans like to give pleasant-sounding, positive names for everything wicked that they do. This is the party that is anti-union. This is the party that tried to use child labor during the Industrial Revolution, and they want to bring it back now. And this is the party that doesn't believe in benefits and wants to give everybody starvation wages. All right, let me see. Senator Murphy. I got here Senator Chris Murphy and Kristi Noem, that bitch. Senator Chris Murphy. All right, let me see if I can find him. Gun violence. Murphy to Secretary Homeland Security, the cunt, Kristi Noem. Cunt Noem. Your department is out of control. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Murphy slams Trump's first 100 days. This is a story of incompetence, theft, mind-blowing corruption. I found it. Thank you, sir. Ed. Hold on, man. This looks like a good one. It's 26 minutes, but it's a good one. It's important. Let me open this up. Yeah, Kristi Noem, just like the press secretary, Levitt, that wears a big cross and does like an evangelical type of prayer before she goes out to lie to the general public, to lie to the American people. She goes into prayer and wears the cross. Is a hypocrite. These are counterfeit Christians that are part of a cult. Let's see. All right, let me just get this going. All right. No, I don't want that. I don't want theater mode. I want full screen. There we go. And away we go.
My colleagues, you're going to hear a lot of stories about the first 100 days of Donald Trump's second presidency, and indeed there are a lot of stories. There's a story of incompetence. We are dealing with multiple measles outbreaks all across the country. There is a story of abdicating our responsibility to lead around the world. Vladimir Putin is laughing at us as Trump goes about the business of handing Ukraine to a brutal Kremlin dictator. There is a story of transferring wealth from the poor and the middle class through massive cuts to Medicaid to the very, very wealthy who are asking for another massive tax cut. But I would argue, Mr. President, that the most important story to tell is a story of corruption, a story of mind-blowing, massive, scalable corruption. That story is important because we are watching the theft of taxpayer money by the decision of the Republican Party to look the other way as Donald Trump essentially monetizes at scale the White House and the powers given to him by the Constitution and the American people in order to enrich himself and his friends. And if we don't tell this story, and if we don't mount a national, bipartisan, apolitical resistance to this thievery, to this corruption, and it becomes normalized as just a part of doing business in America, a normal facet of residents in the White House, then shame on us, because our democracy will not survive this level of corruption, grift, and graft. So I'm going to try to tell this story really quickly. I've got two charts, and it's hard to read. These words are really small because, over the course of 100 days, there are 40, 50, 60 different individual acts of precedent-breaking corruption. And that's intentional because what President Trump is trying to do is engage in so much public corruption that you just become normalized to it, that you stop paying attention to the corruption because can it be corruption if it's just playing out in public? He's trying to make you think that this stuff happens all the time behind the scenes, and now all that is different is that you are seeing it publicly. But that's not true. This is not actually how government works. And I refuse to accept that just because the corruption is happening in public, in front of the cameras for everybody to see, that we should accept it. Okay, I'm going to try to do this, and I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. I'm just going to highlight for you maybe the 40 most egregious examples of corruption in the first 100 days, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. So on January 6th, this is before Trump is even sworn in, Amazon, which has a ton of business before the incoming Trump White House, pays $40 million to the Trump family to license a documentary in a series about Melania Trump. Just a cash payment from a company that has huge interests before the incoming White House to the Trump family. On January 17th, a few days before Trump is sworn in, maybe the most corrupt act in the history of the White House. This is the creation of the Trump meme coin. This is just a backdoor way for anybody with business before the Trump administration to send him millions of dollars in total secret. Trump doesn't disclose who buys the coin. He launders his income from the coin through an unregulated Chinese exchange. He promotes the coin on his social media feeds. In the first minute of trading, one buyer, and what we know is that this was likely a Chinese individual, purchases 6 million coins, sending the price through the roof and immediately making a ton of money for Trump, who makes money off of every transaction. Trump knows who this person is, no doubt, but American citizens do not. All right, January 20th, he's now sworn in, and he fulfills a campaign promise to the oil and gas industry. There's a report from the campaign that says they came down to Mar-a-Lago, I think, and said, we'll give you $1 billion in campaign contributions. This is not me alleging this. This is an open report. Oil and gas industry say we'll give you $1 billion in campaign contributions if you do what we want when you are sworn in. And the day he's sworn in, Trump issues an executive order gutting environmental rules so that the oil and gas industry can start making bigger amounts of money. On January 25th, Trump eliminates the inspectors general, the ethics officials in government, and whistleblower offices. It's a late-night purge, so you know it's fishy. On January 25th, 17 inspector generals get fired, clearing the way for the president to engage in even more corruption, because that's what the inspectors general do. They sit in these agencies and they look for corruption. Now the inspectors general are gone. They're just gone. But that's not good enough, because on that same day, Trump fires the head of the Office of Special Counsel. Why would you do that? Well, that office is an investigative and prosecutorial office that works to end government and political corruption and protects government employees who become whistleblowers. That office is gone now, along with all of the whistleblowers. 2 days later, Trump illegally fires NLRB member Gwynne Wilcox. This effectively shuts down illegally the NLRB for a period of time. Why is that important? Because the guys who are standing behind Donald Trump on Inauguration Day, people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they are being investigated at the moment by the NLRB for massive workplace violations. And now the NLRB is shut down, a big gift to the people who financed Donald Trump's inauguration and stood behind him to give him political endorsement and cover on his inauguration day. On January 31st, a trend begins. Enforcement actions are paused against Trump loyalists. This is Representative Andy Ogles from Tennessee. He was being investigated for loans made to illegal or potentially illegal loans made to his 2022 campaign. But right after Rep. Ogles introduces a bill to amend the Constitution to allow Trump to serve for a third term, what happens? Trump makes the investigation go away. Because as you will see, Trump's justice system will often look the other way if you cheat or steal, but you are a friend of Donald Trump's. At the same time, another of Trump's friends, his IRS nominee, Billy Long, gets his donors. Almost all of them have direct interest before the IRS to pay off his six-figure campaign debt. It's a fabulously corrupt thing to do, but it's just all normal now. So when Trump is showing you the way, then the folks who work for him follow suit. All right, we'll jump to February now. February 4th, we're into what? Week 2 of the Trump White House. Trump hauls the PGA and the Saudi government into the White House to broker an agreement between the two rival golf leagues so that Trump can make more money hosting golf tournaments. He's in business with one of these entities, the Saudi-owned LIV League. In a normal world, the President of the United States wouldn't be in business with any foreign government, but the President is, and not only is that okay, but it is also apparently okay for him to bring the golf league that he's in business with into the White House and pressure the other golf league, the rival golf league, to cut a deal. And guess what happens? The PGA, which had long said they were not going to host events at Trump's courses, after being hauled into the White House, looking the President of the United States in the eye, somebody they clearly have to do business with, they announced that they're going to start allowing their tournaments to be held at Trump courses. Big benefit to Donald Trump's personal bottom line. February 6th, 2 days later, Trump ends the criminal enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Do you know what this is? You should. It requires people who are being paid by foreign governments to register. It's no longer going to be enforced. So now members of the Trump administration can get backdoor payments from foreign governments, and nobody is going to enforce the law. This isn't theoretical. There were people who got arrested for doing this exact same thing, getting paid by foreign governments while working for the Trump administration in term 1. He wants to make sure it's not a problem in term 2, so he pauses enforcement of the actual act. 4 days later, Trump eliminates the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is just a magnificent present to all of his billionaire enablers, because this is the agency that stops big businesses, banks, other financial firms from ripping off consumers, and now it's just shut down. Same day, DOJ drops charges against Eric Adams in a mind-blowingly public and brazen quid pro quo. Adams says he will pledge loyalty to Trump, that he's going to support Trump's political priorities in New York City. Trump drops the corruption charges against Adams. Just like the Ogles case, the door is now wide open to engage in corruption or criminality as long as you support Donald Trump. The thing that makes this one so egregious is that Adams and the White House go on TV to announce the corrupt deal, and they don't hide it. They just say that Adams is now supporting Donald Trump, and we're now going to drop the charges against him, and everybody gets the message. There's a lot of stuff I can get away with as a corrupt official as long as I am in bed politically with Donald Trump. Same day, February 10th, DOJ pauses enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. This is the law that stops American companies from bribing foreign governments in order to get business. On February 10th, Trump suspends enforcement of an anti-bribery statute, paving the way for his friends in corporate America to start bribing foreign governments. Again, 2 days later, forecasts that they are going to because by February 12th, Elon Musk is pretty well embedded in the White House. And guess what? The State Department is now going to spend $400 million for armored Teslas, its largest expected contract in the upcoming year. February 12th, same day, Musk infiltrates the Department of Labor and OSHA, giving him access to labor law violation data against him and his competitors. Unethical, corrupt, but this stuff is just happening every single day. A few days later, on February 15th and 16th, Musk now starts really testing the limits of what his boss will let him get away with. He fires a specific set of regulators at the FDA that are reviewing one of his medical products, Neuralink. The message is clear. You got to do right by getting the axe too. 3 days later, on February 19th, Trump's new USC, Ed Martin, starts to use his government power to harass Trump critics. He launches something called Operation Whirlwind, and he's pretty unapologetic about the fact that this is going to be an enforcement operation against anybody who just seeks to get in the way of Doge. He doesn't say it's going after people who are acting illegally. He says anybody who tries to stop or protest or harass Doge's work is now going to be the subject of Operation Whirlwind. And he starts trolling critics of Doge online. The U.S. Attorney for D.C. is now just trolling Doge critics online, obviously threatening criminal enforcement. You see what's happening here? We're 30 days into the administration, and everybody in Trump's world, including these supposedly independent U.S. attorneys, are getting the message that it is now part of your job, if you work for Trump, to use your government powers to either enrich yourself or Trump or to help Trump politically. February 21st, 2 days later, the SEC drops a major investigation into a company called Robinhood. Why does this matter? You guessed it. This firm donated $2 million to Trump's inauguration fund. 30 days later, the SEC drops an investigation into that firm. Put a pin in that because you're going to hear stories like it over and over again. Throughout February, we watched the rich guys that are surrounding Trump come up with new ways to monetize their positions. Kash Patel is a perfect example. He's the nominee to head the FBI, and maybe the most important independent bureau in the federal government. And while he is going through that process, he is selling merchandise online, ranging from T-shirts to playing cards, with the proceeds supposedly going to whistleblowers, education, and defamation cases. February 26th, news breaks that the FAA is considering giving a $2.4 billion contract to Elon Musk's Starlink. But it's not like a regular contract that's up for bid. It's a contract that was already awarded to one of Musk's competitors, Verizon. And word leaks that the White House is thinking of just ripping the contract away from Verizon, because Verizon is not a political supporter of Donald Trump in the way that Elon Musk is, and just giving it to Elon Musk. Now, that doesn't happen, as reported. The contract has not been canceled yet, but there are regular reports of the administration still relentlessly attacking Verizon in a clear attempt to try to undermine their contract. February 27th, the next day, Trump drops a lawsuit against Capital One. Why does this matter? Capital One donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund. It's now just kind of automatic. You donate a big amount of money to Trump's inauguration, and you can ask him for something. We're not done. That same day, the SEC drops a lawsuit against Coinbase. You got the story now. Coinbase donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund. They are now told that it's okay to keep cheating consumers. We're not done. On February 28th, a day later, the DOJ announces that it would drop a complaint against SpaceX, Elon Musk's SpaceX, for labor discrimination. Elon's like, wait a second, all these other big donors to your inauguration are getting out of jail free. I want my get out of jail free card as well. He gets it from DOJ. We're now into March. March 1st, a report breaks. This is maybe second to Coinbase, the most stunning act of corruption. On March 1st, word breaks that Trump is selling meetings at Mar-a-Lago. On at least one occasion, Trump has charged guests $1 million to dine with him at Mar-a-Lago. According to the same report, business leaders can secure a one-on-one meeting with the President of the United States for a $5 million payment to Donald Trump. If you were mayor of a medium-sized town and it was reported that you were selling meetings for like $200, you would be arrested. You would be run out of town, but not Donald Trump. He's selling meetings for $5 million, according to this report. And because of the corruption in this White House is daily and normal, he gets away with it. March 2nd, Trump launches the Crypto Reserve Fund. This is going to involve government taxpayer dollars purchasing and holding a variety of digital assets in a strategic reserve fund, a move that definitely inflates and protects Trump's investment portfolio, by now, you understand, very heavily dependent on crypto assets. Now, this normally wouldn't be a problem, because normally when somebody takes a high position like president or governor or mayor, they divest from their own personal assets or they put it all in a blind fund. Trump does none of that. He's controlling his own assets. His family is controlling their own assets while he makes policy that benefits himself and his family financially. On March 3rd, a really curious thing, DOJ intervenes in an obscure but open and shut 2020 Colorado elections case. This is the case of Tina Peters, who tampered with voting machines on Trump's behalf in Mesa County, Colorado. She was convicted by a jury of her peers, open and shut. But because Peters is a MAGA loyalist, now DOJ on March 3rd says it's going to step in and review the case because there are concerns about how it was prosecuted. This is just President Trump, again, clearly shielding those that violated the law to help him from consequences. Same thing, different day. No, not even a different day. This is actually still March 3rd. Yuga Labs, a blockchain company, donated $100,000 to Trump inauguration fund. They now get in line. They get what everybody else is getting. The SEC closes an ongoing investigation into the company. On March 4th, Doge lays off thousands of IRS employees. This is bad for a lot of reasons, but it certainly helps Trump's Mar-a-Lago friends because the IRS now cannot enforce the law against the big giant tax cheats in the way that it could have when it had those personnel on the books. Mar-a-Lago is celebrating. March 4th, same day, word breaks that the Commerce Department is considering changes to this very specific rural broadband program and who's eligible. Why? Because Elon Musk wants to dominate that program. Under the program's original rules, Starlink was kind of capped at $4.1 billion. This curious change now will allow Elon Musk's company Starlink to receive between $10 billion and $20 billion from the rural broadband program. This is like a broken record, but 6 days later, the CFPB, which is basically shut down but exists in name only, it drops a lawsuit against the Bank of America and JP Morgan. Bank of America donated $500,000 to the inauguration. JP Morgan donated $1 million to.
I think this man would make an excellent candidate for 2028. Eric Adams, wasn't he good friends with P. Diddy? Didn't he attend Diddy's parties? It seems like anyone connected to a criminal element is being pardoned by Donald Trump. You know?
To the inauguration. On March 11th, a day later, Trump and Musk hold this now very well-known advertisement for Tesla on the White House lawn. This is just taxpayer dollars used to support the personnel at the White House and the White House being used to sell cars for Elon Musk. And the message, again, is pretty simple here. If you are loyal to me and you pay any kind of price for your loyalty to me, I will use government resources to get you out of trouble, even including free advertising. On March 19th, we're 8 days later, the GEO Group donated $500,000 to Trump's inauguration fund. This is a private prison company, and the NLRB drops its investigation into this company. I mean, it's really getting disgusting at this point. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody left that made a major donation to the inauguration fund that has not gotten their favor from Donald Trump. On March 24th, the Treasury Department guts something called the Corporate Transparency Act. This is the regulation that requires businesses to reveal their true owners to the government. These new rules now make it easier for billionaires to hide money, to avoid taxes, to engage in corruption. Less accountability for corporations. March 25th, a day later, the SEC reduces from $125 million to $50 million an existing fine. So this has already been litigated. This company, Ripple, it's a blockchain-based digital payment company. It's been fined, and Trump comes in and reduces the fine from $125 million to $50 million. You know the story by now. These guys made a big investment in the inauguration. Most of these companies that got to get out of jail free or have their investigations terminated were giving $500,000 to $1 million. Ripple wanted to make sure they got it right. They made a $5 million donation to Trump's inaugural fund, and they got their fine reduced by $75 million. March 28th, Trump pardons the founder of Nikola Autos, one of his campaign mega donors. Again, this is a pardon for one of his major campaign contributors. When asked about the pardon, Trump said, they say the thing they did was wrong, but he was one of the first people who supported me for president. Like, he just tells you what he did. He said, yeah, they said what he did was wrong. I mean, he did something that was probably pretty wrong, but he supported me for president, so I'm giving him a pardon. I'm not saying that there hasn't been a lot of really bad stuff that's happened in the pardon program under Democratic and Republican presidents, but let's just name it when Donald Trump names it. April 8th, we're into April. Trump issues an executive order to expand coal mining. This is part of his down payment on the promise he made to those oil executives. The shares of the company owned by by Joseph Kraft, the billionaire coal magnate who helped lead those Trump fundraising efforts during the presidential campaign, immediately shoots up. On April 9th, this really curious timeline of events plays out in which Trump posts on his social media, this is a great time to buy. A lot of his followers comply. They make investments in the market. There's reports and speculation that many of his inner circle might have done the same thing. And then a couple hours later, he announces that he's pausing most of his tariffs. And the market shoots up. People who followed his directions online make a lot of money, and potentially other people who had access to that insider information might have made a lot of money as well. On April 17th, Musk steers billions of taxpayer dollars to something called the Golden Dome. Reuters on April 17th reports that Elon Musk's rocket and satellite company, SpaceX, has emerged as the front runner to develop Trump's proposed Golden Dome. This is a really ill-defined, technologically unproven defense system. It supposedly has a price tag of hundreds of billions of dollars, money that now looks as if it will be funneled directly to Elon Musk. At this point, it is just head-shaking. On April 23rd, I mean, now it's like he can do anything he wants. Like, he has just blown the lid off of any expectations about what a president can and cannot do to enrich himself. On April 23rd, a message appears on the homepage of the website for Trump's meme coin declaring that the top 220 meme coin holders would be invited for an exclusive dinner with Trump, and the top 25 coin holders, these are private investors in Donald Trump's financial empire, would get a special VIP tour of the White House. After the message went up, the price of Trump's coin jumped by more than 50%. In the 2 days following the announcement of the special VIP tour in the People's House, the White House, Trump and his allies made nearly $1 million in trading fees alone. They are just selling access to the White House out in the open. April 26th, Trump's family, this is just last weekend, announces the launch of a private club called the Executive Branch, a new private club in Washington. The initiation fee is around $500,000. It is advertised as a place where you can hold secret audiences with the Trump administration as long as you pay Donald Trump's family and their financial backers over $500,000 in membership fees. It is apparently already sold out. This is not normal. None of this is normal. This is outlandish This is illegal. This is unconstitutional, brazen corruption. And this is only the first 100 days. I just detailed 40 instances of mind-blowing corruption in just 40 days. People who put money in the pocket of Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants, but it's our choice as a nation to allow it to be the story of the rest of his term. We need to expose what he is doing. Nobody in this country, whether you are a hardened conservative or a hardened progressive, should root for the President of the United States to be enriching himself off of this position. We need to rally this nation against this corruption and bring it to an end. Because if Donald Trump gets what he wants, and we just start allowing our government's leaders to openly steal from us during the first 100 days or for the rest of his term, then I am telling you, American democracy is not going to survive.
Incredible. Thank you very much, Mr. Ed Krasenstein, for bringing this to my attention. Mind-blowing, isn't it? He is a fantastic senator. I think that he's young. He's a decent-looking guy. He has a presidential look. Even if he becomes vice president to whoever decides to run in 2028, whoever that may be, the current governor of California, who has a very great presidential look about him, and definitely progressive, definitely qualified, competent, very smart. Whoever decides to run, I'm hoping that Bernie Sanders converts his raisin balls into titanium balls and grows a titanium spine and forms a new third progressive People's Party, all right, from his Our Revolution organization, from all those progressive candidates from Our Revolution, which includes the squad and AOC, all of them, Jasmine Crockett, and forms a new third progressive party that, just like Bernie Sanders' democratic socialism has been doing in the past, do not accept large campaign contributions from the fat cats. Only take small donations from everyday people, grassroots American population, because when you take large campaign contributions from the mega rich, that means you owe mega favors in return. So that's what I hope really happens. But this guy's great. This guy is great. I think he should. I definitely think he should. These rallies, have you seen the massive amount of people that have been showing up at Bernie Sanders' anti-oligarch rallies that he's doing with AOC? It's like when he first campaigned for president. Massive amounts of people. legions of Americans. And even in red states, very large, massive amounts have been showing up. I think other people should join the rally, like Jasmine Crockett. People with a lot of energy and fire and enthusiasm. And unfortunately, things are going to get worse. Like Bernie Sanders predicted, things are not going to get better, they're going to get worse. If this happened in the first 100 days, well, Bernie's right now, he's just United States Senator from Vermont. I mean, Bernie Sanders, I know he's very old, but he's not. He doesn't show any signs of dementia or senility whatsoever. He's sharp as a tack, really. His mind is 100% sharp. But he could form a third party. Well, what about, instead of saying Hillary Clinton screwed over Bernie Sanders, isn't it the DNC, the Democratic Party, that refused to nominate a man who attracted more people at his rallies? He totally blew away Donald Trump campaign rallies and Hillary Clinton campaign rallies. In terms of sheer numbers, he blew them away. But despite the fact that happened, he and also I think he blew away even Joe Biden's rallies. Even Joe Biden bragged, I beat Bernie Sanders. I remember that before he won the election against Donald Trump. Oh, I beat Bernie Sanders. Yeah, you couldn't make a pimple on Bernie Sanders' ass, Joe Biden. You know, when in regards to sheer massive numbers that showed up at the rallies. But, you know, if the Democrats were not the lesser of two evils, the other establishment political party, the other a group of corporate whores, which they are, they would have done the right thing. All right, Mr. Ed Krasenstein, here's my prop. It was sent to me by a wonderful friend from Los Angeles, California. She was kind enough to send it. It's my magic wand. As you can see, it is a Donald Trump toilet brush. Right? And the reason why I left it in the package is for future investment purposes, untouched by human hand, supposedly. In the package, just like if you buy an action figure and you keep it in the box for investment purposes for the future, because you know this guy is going to go down in infamy, in the infamous history of the United States. Okay? And I have a gut feeling this is going to be a collector's item, so I am leaving it in the package. Oh, they were advertising on social media. I'm sure if you went to Amazon, you typed in Donald Trump toilet brush, I'm sure that you'll see it. But you know, I mean, for the show, I would have if for, if it wasn't for the future potential of an investment, I would have taken it out of the package and waved it around like a like a conductor of an orchestra, or like Merlin the magician, But no, I left it in the package. I have other props. Oh, okay. Let me go on to the next topic. Oh, all right. You notice all the women hired by the Trump administration they're not competent, they're not smart, but they're all attractive, physically attractive. You notice that? Oh man. It's kind of like Fox News, right? The women of Fox News. I'm sure the Donald Trump toilet brush is made in China. Whoop, what the hell is this? What the fuck is this? Something is covering up the article. Oh, that's not good. Let's go in here. A little, got some advertising going on here, preventing the article from being shown. Huh. Okay, there we go. Let's see what this is about. 1,200,000 tons per year projected Middle East city to power the earth for millennia. Okay, this is a hydrogen producing plant off the coast of Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia doesn't have enough control with big oil, right? Most likely one of the world's, if not the #1 oil producer. Okay, now they want to control the green energy movement. I don't know why these shoes are here. Get the hell out of here. These fucking shoes. Anyway, all right, that's enough of that. We move on to the next. But before we move on to the next, I want to see what gentleman has to say here. Mr. Rosen, I can't pronounce his name. Rosengert. That is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Okay, well, I already showed that. Where can I get one? All right. It never occurred to me to type that phrase on Amazon. Don't think they ship it here anyway. Why? Where are you from? Are you European? Are you from Scandinavia? Where is your location? Fox News is classified as entertainment rather than actual news, I believe. Well, I think it's satiric. It's a satire. The only time I ever stopped to watch a Fox News show is to look at the large-breasted women. To be honest with you, I mean, I really could care less what they had to say. When an attractive large an attractive large-breasted younger female that's an idiot has anything to say, I don't pay attention to what she has to say. I just think of her giving head, polishing the old knob, blowjobs. That's the only thing that comes to mind. Polishing the old knob. All right. The old knob job.
Is there any single Republican who is willing to speak out to make sure that children, people with disabilities, and veterans do not go hungry? Anyone? Silence. SNAP is a true lifeline, and this is a matter of life and death. If Republicans have their way, this reconciliation bill will increase hunger and food insecurity. More than 42 million Americans, 42 million, participate in SNAP each month. This includes 16.9 million children, 4.5 million people with disabilities, and 1.2 million veterans. Over 1.1 million people in Massachusetts rely on SNAP. Let's talk about economic impact. For every $1 in SNAP benefits generates $1.50 in economic activity. SNAP dollars help to pay the wages of grocery store clerks.
Did you know that some Republican voting imbeciles over on TikTok, on my TikTok account, they actually believe that Democrats want to cut benefits for veterans? I told them it's Republicans that don't believe in any benefits for the bottom 98%. Incredible.
Of truckers who deliver food, manufacturers who make food packaging, and the farmer who grows food. There is nothing efficient about making people hungrier and sicker. This bill.
Yeah, she's one of one of the squad members. I don't know why she's bald. I don't know what's going on with that. It's not a good way to get Republicans to take her seriously, but I'm not saying they're going to take her seriously even if she had hair on her head. All right, I don't think that's going to happen. Jasmine Crockett on tariffs. Speak of a great progressive. Okay. Mr. Ed Krasenstein, let me know if you want to come on the show with your video or camera, either audio only or audio and video, whatever you choose. Let me know if you want, and I will post the link to join the show right here in the commentaries section, if you're still with us.
I can't find a spine anywhere in the house. So no, I don't really see it changing. I mean, and this is knowing that this is going to harm so many people in their own districts. When we start to talk about these tariffs are not limited to any one type of people. It's not limited to Democrats, Republicans, or independents. It's not limited to urban or rural. We know for a fact, if we look back just at his last administration, what it did to the soybean farmers, right? And we ultimately ended up having to give them money to supplant the fact that they lost so much money. But this crazy tariff war that nobody asked for, where he basically is invoking emergency powers, the same thing that he did under the Alien Enemies Act, like the fact that no one is questioning his mental acuity or fitness to serve is beyond wild to me, right? Like the fact that they sat around, called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe Biden, and as I said before, at least you could sleep at night because you didn't have to worry about your 401k disappearing overnight. You didn't have to worry about these allegations of fake invasions. You didn't have to worry about the cost of food just skyrocketing, or skyrocketing cost of all of your electronics. You know, the fact that Apple was flying in planes of iPhones before the tariffs hit, like this is crazy work for no reason. So, you know, I just hope that people remember because seemingly they got amnesia the first time. And so you've got opportunities to vote. And I will tell you that every single special election we've had, Democrats are swinging no less than 15 points. But honestly, we should be swinging 30 and 40 points because of the level of incompetence and harm that this.
Yep. She hit the nail right on the head. Donald Trump meltdown. Let's see what we got here. He's always having a meltdown. Meet the depressed. Meet depressed. Where are we here? Share screen, share screen. All right, folks, we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. So, all you YouTubers and Twitchers, feel free to join the show with commentary. You can bring up anything that's bothering you. This is your place to vent.
An interview with Donald Trump on Meet the Press just aired on Sunday, where Donald Trump says he does not know or believe if he needs to follow the Constitution. This was a full meltdown in this interview. Donald Trump said he really didn't even care if the United States went into a recession, and he said he was going to speak to Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney about conquering Canada and annexing it because Donald Trump wants it to be the 51st state.
He wants it. He wants it. You know, Canada declined, of course, which I am very proud of the new progressive Prime Minister of Canada. Well, he wants Greenland, but Denmark is not giving up Greenland. He can want anything he wants. Hey, what's going on here? I met RFK Jr. before he became brainwashed by Trump. Now he's nothing more than a paid politician. Well, you know, Donald Trump, when he was younger and, well, even when he was middle-aged and making all those appearances on talk shows, you know, before Celebrity Apprentice, he was a Democrat. So it doesn't surprise me about RFK Jr. changing. I guess he loves his position in the Trump administration, and he's getting paid well. I'm sure Elon Musk is behind a lot of the payoffs.
As the Vatican prepares to host the conclave to elect a new pontiff, Donald Trump has posted an AI-generated image of himself as the Pope on his social media platform, which the White House then shared on its official X account. Catholics around the world say it's deeply insulting and makes a mockery of their faith.
In white papal robes, seated in an ornate chair, Donald Trump posted this fake image, AI generated. It was then shared on the official White House account. Earlier this week, the US president joked he'd like to be the next pope.
I'd like to be pope. That would be my #1 choice.
Trump is not Catholic, and leaders of the 1.4 billion strong church aren't amused. The former Italian PM responded by saying vergogna, which means shame. This is an image that offends believers, insults institutions. The leader of the global right enjoys being a clown. And from New York's Catholic bishops, there is nothing clever or funny about this image. We just buried our beloved Pope Francis. Do not mock us. The Vatican is preparing to host the conclave from May 7. Finishing touches are being made to the Sistine Chapel where the Assembly will convene, and the chimney has been installed. It will signal through smoke whether a new pontiff has been elected. As 9 days of mourning comes to a close, cardinals have begun to meet privately.
How to make the church relevant in today's time, how to reach out to young people.
Most keeping the secret discussions exactly that. Sarah Naven for
Well, of course, by now they did select a new pope. Yeah, he would like to be pope. He looked serious when he said that. I named this one Action Judge Jackson. And for good reason. Action Judge Jackson. Action Jackson. Oh man. Yeah, I wonder what happened to all the other right-wing saboteurs that like to troll my show. I only yeah, it's actually been pretty smooth. I think you brought good luck to the show, Mr. Ed Krasenstein, and Rosenfurt. Oh, let's see, what do we got here? Action Jackson.
A Supreme Court justice finally stands up to Trump, gives him a political slap right on the face, and says, "This is America, not your playground. Enough is enough." You won't believe what just happened in the Supreme Court today. In this video, I explain everything to you. Before I get started, touch the plus sign on our profile picture and give us your opinions in the comments section. For the first time in what feels like forever, a voice from the nation's highest court just thundered through the silence, and it wasn't a whisper. It was a roar. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson has finally said what millions have been waiting to hear. Enough is enough. In a packed hall in Puerto Rico, Jackson took off the gloves and stepped into the ring. Without mentioning Trump by name, she painted the elephant in the room in such vivid color that no one had to guess. Her words hit like a gavel from Mount Olympus. The attacks on judges aren't just threats, they're an assault on our democracy. Trump and his allies have been playing a dangerous game, bullying judges, mocking court rulings, and treating the Constitution like a napkin at a fast food joint. But Jackson clarified it. This is America. And in America, no one, not even a former president, gets to stomp on the rule of law and walk away grinning. Bomb threats, doxing, impeachment schemes. It's not politics anymore. It's warfare against the very people sworn to keep justice alive. But Jackson stood tall, fearless, and fired a shot straight through the fog. We are not a nation ruled by intimidation. We are a nation ruled by law. The room erupted in a standing ovation. Justice Jackson didn't just speak, she made.
I wonder if all of those Republicans in Congress and in the Senate who are disrespecting and violating the U.S. Constitution and ignoring it, I wonder if they also can be impeached. Because nobody is supposed to be above the law, especially the U.S. Constitution. Alien species. Okay, this is fascinating. All right. Alien species. Yeah, well, extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth and interacting uh, with Earth for many thousands of years. Who knows how many thousands of years? And we could very well have been an extraterrestrial experiment. They probably accelerated evolution with the primitive humanoid Earth creatures like Homo erectus, whatever, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, and accelerated the evolution and created modern day Homo sapiens. It's possible. Conservative Texas school board voted out. Wow. In redneck, right wing, red state, Texas. Huh. All right.
Here is something incredibly shocking, something I haven't been able to do for a very long time, but I'm about to give you some amazingly good news. This past Saturday, over in Texas, there were elections, and one of them in the county of Mansfield was a school board election. And 3 members of that school board in the Mansfield Independent School District, 3 of them were up for re-election, including the president of the school board and the secretary, so the top 2 people. And all of the incumbents were, of course, conservatives. And all 3 of those conservatives in that Texas district were voted out on Saturday. All of them. By pretty significant margins. So you have an area of the country, this county in Texas, that had previously said, we want conservatives in control of our school board. We want the book bans, right? Because Texas is almost leading the country in book bans. This is what we want. Parental rights in the schools. Let's put the conservatives on the school board and they'll fix everything, right? Well, the people in this district woke up and they realized that no, this is actually not good. We don't like this. Our district is suffering. The children are suffering in school. The teachers are suffering. Enough is enough. And they voted out the conservatives and replaced them with liberals. In deep red Texas, folks. That may be the best news that I have reported on anything, hell, in a year. Because here is what this means. This means that even in areas like deep red Texas, you're having enough people come to the realization that conservatives have been feeding us lies for decades. Lies about, oh, you need to worry about this, but don't worry about this over here. You know, don't worry about the tariffs. Don't worry about the economy. Don't worry about us giving everything to the rich. Don't worry about us giving your tax dollars, Texas taxpayers, so that families can go and send their kids to expensive private schools, and we're starving public schools of money to do that. Actually, on the day of the election, Greg Abbott signed legislation, or the House, Texas Senate passed legislation to go ahead and do that to the tune of $1 billion taken away from Texas public schools into Texas for-profit schools. And the voters in that district said, we've had enough. We don't like this Republican rule. We don't like what they're doing. We're done. Now, here's where things get interesting. The turnout for Saturday's election in Mansfield County was 7.99%. So, I don't need to tell you, that's low. Okay, that's very low. 63,000 votes cast, and that's only 8% of the population. But here is what that very low number tells us, and this is a positive. It tells us, number one, that the people who did go out there to vote, the people who were angry enough, the people who were engaged enough, wanted liberal rule. So that is a positive. They sent the country a message with their votes. But you know who sent an equally as strong message? The conservatives who didn't show up. That, to me, is almost the bigger story. The fact that the conservatives just said, you know what? I'm not even going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And keep in mind, let me remind you, this election was on a Saturday. Okay? It's not like it was in the middle of the work week where most people are working. This was a Saturday. Okay? You had time. You could have gone, and they chose not to. They sat out. That is also sending a message to Republicans across the country that, sure, we're not going to go and vote for Democrats, but we're sure as hell not going to show up for you either. Every person in this country needs to be aware of these election results here, because this is super positive for the liberals, super bad for the conservatives, and I do believe that this is an omen of what is coming. This is foreshadowing a potential Republican wipeout in next year's midterms.
All right. I always enjoyed this guy's videos. All right, let me double check with the commentary. All right. Let's see. Smart cities are about control. I hate dealing with platform. I really hate it. All right.
Told that smart cities are the future, efficient, sustainable, and designed for our convenience. But what if smart doesn't mean what we think? SMART actually stands for surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, and tracking. Every move tracked through cameras, sensors, and facial recognition. Social behavior, spending habits, and energy usage analyzed 24/7. AI-driven systems predicting and influencing behavior. Your actions logged into databases, creating a social credit system. Digital IDs, cashless economies, and 15-minute city zones controlling where you can go. These cities aren't about convenience, they're about absolute control. They want you locked into a digital prison where your freedom depends on compliance. Everything connects. Central bank digital currencies will dictate what you can buy. Facial recognition and AI policing will remove privacy. Geofencing and travel restrictions will control movement. And when they link all of this to your carbon footprint score, they'll decide whether you can eat meat, drive a car, or even leave your neighborhood. The question isn't when this is coming, it's already being rolled out. London, Paris, New York, and cities worldwide are being restructured to fit this model. The ultimate goal? A global digital prison where compliance cries to you survival. Make sure you're following so you don't miss a piece to this puzzle, and comment truth if you're ready to.
Better wake up, people. It's not just Americans, it's people of the world. And it sounds like the evil oligarch is behind this. Okay. What I'm going to show you, in my opinion, is the real Charles Manson that the media and the government did not want to reveal because he was spilling the beans, so to speak, letting the cat out of the bag, giving people real hard-hitting truths that the establishment didn't want you to know about. Interesting. I was pretty surprised when I listened to this. Wait. Now, I want you to pay attention to this interview, which I'd never seen before. until the other day, actually, 1 or 2 days ago. I said, wow, this is a Charles Manson that I never knew about. You know, you be the judge. Let's see.
The United States is owned by foreign corporations. Nixon opened it up for foreign trade. And when Nixon opened up for foreign trade, the people of Europe and the common market and Spain and different places, they don't care about the United States forest. And in short, the United States has been sold out by people who really don't care for anything but money. I've had all the money in the world 3 times. I had to give it back to keep the game going.
What game?
The game. It's a game. Money is a game. It's only real to the people who work for it. The people that don't need to work for money, it's a monopoly game. It's a game of paper. It's all on paper. I've got a production company, and I've got a recording company, and I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and I've got Rolls Royces and Ferraris. I've got everything money can buy, but it's all on paper. Everything's done through the companies and through the tax loopholes, and the people that live on that level, they don't care about the average honest mule that just goes back and forwards to work. They don't care about the children that are in the streets that are thrown out of this upper echelon of existence. And then when all the children fall down into me, on my level, I pretty much identify with them because I was a throwaway also. So it goes to the point of, do you really care?
When you said...
And who does care? And if anybody cares, they're considered crazy. I've been 15 years in the nut ward for trying to stop the trees from being cut down, from trying to rearrange a lifestyle of a bunch of people who don't want to change. But they're going to change because the cold wind is blowing.
I've got a curiosity. Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Remember you had an X years ago and you changed it now to a swastika?
No, I never changed. It's been the same thing all the way along.
Wasn't it always an X?
No, it never was.
What's it stand for?
It stands for whatever I mean it to stand for, and whatever I make it stand for, and whatever I want it to stand for.
But you didn't one time say you were Xing yourself out?
No, that was your newspapers that gave you that.
What does it stand for you?
It stands for many things. It would take 2 or 3 weeks to explain all the things that I've built.
Can you give me an example?
In the image. Certainly, I can give you an example of the United States flag of America.
The swastika.
The rising sun in the Japanese flag. The Star of David to the Israelis.
Interesting. No dressing to impress you ladies. We're gonna do a little alpha sigma male red pill men going their own way topic here. I agree with this guy 100%. Oh. All right, now. Okay, let's see. Damn. Let's see. Copy. I'm trying to see if there's a way to rewind it. Well, if I gotta play it over again, I gotta play it over again.
70s and 80s where men dressed to impress instead of walking around in socks and slides like they're wearing the same gym clothes that they wore 3 days in a row? Can we go back to that?
The answer is no.
No, we don't need to. Once again, ladies, men are done. Men are done with dating, relationships, and with women. So not only aren't we dressing to impress, we're actually dressing to push y'all away. Because you see, we're done with your toxicity. Done with your incessant, ridiculous expectations like, oh, I don't know, thinking we need to impress you. That somehow we're obligated to impress you because, meh, you're the prize. You're the table. Well, darlings, I hate to break it to you, but you're not. You're not the table. You really don't bring anything to the table. You don't benefit men in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, not only are we not going to bring it back, we're going to double down on dressing the way we want to, the way that makes us feel comfortable, not the way you're telling us to. Y'all love to say you want us men to leave you alone. Okay, fine. Well, how about you leave us alone too then? Okay?
Can we go back to the 70s and 80s where men dressed to impress instead of walking around in socks and slides like they're
Like a chicken. Sounds like a cackling hen. Oh, fuck. I hate this platform. Oh, I really do. A cackling hen. She sounds like a chicken, man. Like a fucking chicken. All right, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Let's see.
Miss Gosgraves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand? Got it. Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research. Trump. Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them. Trump. Driving us into a recession. Trump. Increasing the cost of everything. Trump. Waging an idiotic tariff war. Trump. Harming farmers. Trump. Ignoring the Constitution. Trump. Proposing to take away Social Security. Trump. Cutting health care. Trump. Firing government workers who keep our country safe. Trump. Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness. Trump. Thank you so much. This committee could be engaged in actual oversight of fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement. So let's talk about waste. Like Trump's plan to spend almost $100 million for his little birthday parade. Or how he spent 25% of his first 100 days golfing, costing taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. In fact, it's a little bit over 30 million at our last estimation. In fact, President Trump is on pace to spend more than $1 billion of taxpayer dollars just on golfing. Yet the Republicans have been silent. So they must think spending taxpayer dollars on the president's golfing trips is more important.
Yeah, it's more important than helping Americans that are in need. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Republicans have been silent. AI robots, naps, and mid-demo and attacks engineers on camera. Free. I don't know. They got up on the wrong side of the bed.
robots are getting real, like dangerously real. One of them just snapped mid-demo and started swinging at engineers like it was auditioning for a Terminator reboot. And while that clip set social media on fire, it's only the start. In China, a car company is putting life-sized blonde humanoids with ponytails and sunglasses into showrooms to sell vehicles. Over in Germany, a robotics company is rolling out a humanoid worker that runs 8 hours straight and costs less than a Tesla. Across the ocean, in California, Berkeley just dropped a $5,000 DIY humanoid you can print at home, and people are already tweaking it to walk better and live longer. Meanwhile, Hyundai is going full sci-fi, bringing Boston Dynamics Atlas robots onto the factory floor to build 300,000 electric cars a year. So let's talk about it. But before we jump in, just a quick heads up for anyone getting serious about generative AI, whether you're building AI influencers, avatars, talking heads, or using them in videos and real projects. We've just launched a brand new advanced course inside our paid school community. This one goes way deeper than the usual intro stuff and takes you all the way to deploying your own AI digital persona and actually making money with it. Our free school group already has over 600 learners exploring the fundamentals, but if you're ready for the full deep dive, the link's below. And in the next course, we'll go even further. Custom poses, angles, outfit changes, branded items. New content drops regularly, so check the link below before the price goes up. All right, now the viral robot freakout clip is already framed as a meme, but the clip itself is almost too on the nose to ignore. Source, the Belarusian TV outfit Nexta, which reposted factory security footage shot somewhere in China. The robot in question, a half-finished humanoid dangling from a construction crane like a marionette, was meant to be going through a routine motion range test. 2 engineers stood underneath, hands on tablets reading out servo IDs. Suddenly, every joint spiked. The bot windmilled its arms, kicked its feet, yanked the suspension line sideways, and slid its welded stand across polished concrete. A desktop PC smashed to the floor, a bucket of fasteners scattered, and both engineers scrambled out of reach while the crane hook groaned overhead. The whole tantrum lasted maybe 20 seconds, but it drew more than 100,000 views in 4 hours and spawned 69 comment thread jokes about Skynet. One viewer wrote, "Sarah Connor was feffing right." Another posted a gif of RoboCop's ED-209 falling downstairs, and a surgical resident admitted the scene reminded him that a Da Vinci console is just motors and firmware after all. That clip parallels a wave of headline-friendly prototypes China has paraded all winter. Pudu Robotics' D9 can walk at 4.5 mph, climb stairs, and take a hip check without tumbling. Clone Robotics' February demo of the proto-clone musculoskeletal android flexed synthetic tendons and promised it would one day cook, clean, and hold a conversation. Commenters loved the tech, but called the atmosphere dystopian. The outburst handed them fresh ammunition. It showed how violently a torque value can run away when the safety envelope isn't nailed down. Meanwhile, 500 kilometers west of Shanghai, Chery Automotive is leaning into the opposite mood, charm. The company, run out of municipal woohoo and building cars since the mid-90s, has decided its next showroom employee will be Mornine, a life-size blonde android wearing wraparound sunglasses and a ponytail. Chery partnered with a robotics outfit called AI Moga in June 2024 and demoed Mornine at last year's Shanghai Auto Show. This week, the robot reappeared on stage behind Chery International President Zhang Guibing in a lineup of identical units. Zhang told dealers the market for humanoids has more potential than vehicles and declared AI Moga is the real future for the Chery company. The price, roughly the same as a car, so figure mid-5 figures, though any dealer willing to write a purchase order gets an undisclosed discount. Even at list price, 220 units are promised for delivery in 2025, and one is already greeting shoppers in a Malaysian dealership, dispensing bottled water with carbon fiber fingers and answering trim package questions in a pleasantly synthetic Alto. The shades aren't a fashion gag. They hide a surround view camera array that stitches 360 degrees vision, and every fingertip carries capacitive pads that can feel when a customer taps a brochure. A social media clip of Mornin's junk in the trunk dance routine at the Woohoo launch drew a comment section nearly as long as the robot's spec sheet. One top-rated reply wondered whether the corporate dress code needed updating for plastic blondes. If Chery is selling vibes, Iggy GmbH is selling spreadsheet math. The Cologne-based motion plastics company spent 15 years harvesting tribology data for low-friction polymers. Now it's packaging those parts into a full humanoid called Iggy Rob that undercuts almost every Western competitor. Headline number, 47,999 euros, roughly $54,500 at today's rate, which is a third the price of Agility's Digit and half the rumored price of Tesla's Optimus. Iggy stands 1.7 meters tall, but it doesn't walk. The torso bolts onto Iggy's Rebel Move autonomous mobile base, a wheeled platform with a 3-point bearing that can carry 50 kilograms of its own mass, plus 100 kilograms of payload. Two Rebel cobot arms sprout from the shoulders, each sporting a 6-axis harmonic gearbox stack, and Igus's bionic hands clamp payloads with polymer gears that never need grease.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well, forget about AI, quantum computing, electric vehicles, cryptocurrencies, or robotics. A little-known technology is projected to become roughly 10 times bigger than all of these technologies.
Navigation comes from a roof-mount LiDAR and paired 3D cameras at eye level. Runtime is 8 hours on a single lithium pack. The whole bundle talks ROS2, is CE certified for Europe, and slots into VDA 5050 fleet management dashboards that German factories already use for tuggers and pallet movers. Ingus's sales pitch is brutally practical. They'll ship an evaluation unit, let your team test it in a live cell, maybe at a reception desk, maybe clearing cutlery in the canteen, then fly in an engineer to tweak pick points. If the trial makes financial sense, you keep the robot and pay the invoice. All right, underpinning that confidence is a 3-step roadmap. The 2022 Rebel Cobalt arm proved the drivetrain. The 2023 Rebel hand won an RBR 50 award for under $1,000 dexterity, and the 2024 Rebel Move AMR handled the powertrain. Iggy is just the pieces screwed together. Across the Atlantic, University of California Berkeley's robotics lab is taking the price war almost to hobby level. Their Berkeley Humanoid Light project dropped complete CAD, firmware, and reinforcement learning scripts onto GitHub with an NSF grant tag. The robot stands 0.8 meters tall, call it a toddler, with 22 cycloid gearboxes. You can print on any home FDM machine that handles a 200 by 200 by 200 millimeter envelope. Hardware bill in the US comes to $4,312, sourced from Shenzhen, and it's $3,236. The costliest line items are 10 high-torque 6512 actuators at $188 each, and 12 lighter 5010s at $136 each. Control is a $120 Intel N95 mini PC pushing 4 1 megabit CAN 2.0 buses at 250 Hertz. Power is a 6-cell 4000 MAH LiPo, giving 30 minutes of runtime. On paper, that looks anemic, but Berkeley's party trick is software. They trained a walking policy entirely in simulation and watched it transfer zero shot to real hardware. The release video shows the bot stepping off a lab bench, shrugging its shoulders, writing its initials with a felt tip, stacking foam cubes, and spinning a scrambled Rubik's Cube, solving will take firmware v2.0. The paper's appendix introduces a tongue-in-cheek performance per dollar metric. Peak joint torque divided by height, normalized by price. By that measure, the $5,000 platform outranks several 6-figure commercial machines. Reddit's verdict is split. Half the commenters call it the Raspberry Pi moment for legged robots. The rest say the demo looks like toys from 2013 and warn that 3D printing gear teeth in PLA is a reliability nightmare. Either way, the repo's issues tab already hosts pull requests for longer pipe batteries and alternative gear ratios, which was exactly the point. Berkeley wants hundreds of garage tinkerers pushing the design forward without waiting for corporate roadmaps. If Berkeley is pushing from the bottom and Igu's from the middle, Hyundai is battering the ceiling. The Korean automaker closed its purchase of Boston Dynamics in 2021. Now it's folding the Atlas platform, yes, the parkour-doing celebrity robot, into a new factory complex in Bryan County, Georgia. The plant sits at the core of a $21 billion US investment package, $6 billion of which is earmarked for automation and mobility tech. Hyundai already deploys Boston Dynamics four-legged Spot for inspection rounds. Bringing in two-legged Atlas units is a bigger leap. The goal is 300,000 electric and hybrid vehicles per year, feeding a plan to push a U.S. production capacity from 700,000 cars this year to 1.2 million by the end of the decade. Hyundai hasn't said how many Atlases it's buying, but supply chain whispers point to tens of thousands of robots across multiple categories. Atlas's appeal is clear. It can step over conveyor tracks, climb stairs, and thread through weld booths designed for humans, which means Hyundai can retool software faster than it could repour concrete. Labor unions are publicly worried about job displacement, yet management argues that uptime and safety statistics will speak for themselves once the bots clock in. The welding cell of 2026 might look like a human tech with a tablet, 3 Atlas units hauling stamped panels, and a dozen fixed ABB wrists performing spot welds, a species mashup the industry has never seen at scale. So, with robots now selling us cars, building them, and occasionally throwing a tantrum mid-test, how long before one replaces you at work? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if this made you rethink a few things, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Fascinating. I love science and technology. All right. Let me just, got a problem here. Let me just, Mr. Gabriel Salaya, his message is not appearing. I don't know why. I don't understand why he's not appearing. Hmm. Um, why do I, hold on. Let me check something here. I don't understand why Mr. Gabriel Salaya of Buckeye, Arizona, why his why his comments are not appearing. What the hell's going on here? Trying to find out. I don't know what's going on. I gotta try to investigate this over on YouTube. Try to find out why his messages are not appearing. It's really frustrating.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy.
What happened? What's going on here? Oh. It was cut short. I wonder why. Trump wants to bring back Alcatraz. Oh, this guy's fantastic. He's great. This he's a congressman from Florida, Mr. Moskowitz. This guy is really sharp. I'm looking into it, Gabriel Salaya. I'm looking into it on my phone on the YouTube channel.
I was listening to the ranking member, and she brought up something about Trump talking about Alcatraz. And of course, look, this is just another distraction to divert attention away from the tariffs or rising prices or the struggle on Main Street. But since we're having a hearing on prisons, it's lucky timing for me. So, 3 times more expensive than any prison to operate in 1959, Alcatraz was. Okay? It needs about $250 million to shore up the infrastructure and utilities. All food and water has to be barged in. Sewage has to be barged out. The facility is almost 100 years old. And so I don't get it. In the days of Doge, where we're cutting budgets, we got to find savings. Now we're going to what? We're going to cut Medicaid and SNAP so that we can pour money into Alcatraz. First of all, have you been to Alcatraz recently? It literally is it's a rust box walking around. You need a tetanus shot just to go into the building. Do we still give tetanus shots, or has RFK gotten rid of those? I can't keep up. And so, listen, where did the president get this idea all of a sudden? Right? Where did he get the idea? Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz, right? And I brought boards because some people are visual learners. Perhaps he was watching Escape from Alcatraz by Clint Eastwood. Actually, funny part about that, it was actually on television in South Florida. It was on PBS South Florida over the weekend when Trump was at Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he made his announcement just hours after it aired. You know PBS, the programming that he's trying to get rid of, so just in case you're keeping up, right? It's 2 dolls for girls and 0 Elmos, okay? But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe he was watching The Rock with Sean Connery. You know this one. This is where Sean Connery goes back to Alcatraz because he originally escaped Alcatraz and he needed like an expert on chemical weapons. Maybe the president was just Netflixing and chilling, like watching The Rock, which is not to be confused with The Rock, right? That's a different person. And then the president's really excited about these sharks, right? He's talking about the sharks and the person escaped. He lost his clothing. So, sharks, they don't have laser beams on. They don't have laser beams, but maybe the sharks are going to be there. So this is just all ridiculous. But then all of a sudden after that, we heard like, oh, we're going to tariff the movies. Well, hold on a second. Why would we tariff the movies? This is where the president is getting his ideas from. We can't tariff the policy idea making of the presidency. And look, I know what my colleagues are going to say. They're going to say, Jared, just let the president cook. This is 4D chess he's playing. And I'm going to say, maybe he's just watching late night movies. Perhaps.
What's going on? TikTok is cutting videos short. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dictator Greene. Marjorie Taylor, Dictator Greene going gavel crazy. All right, this is funny, but not so funny. Yeah, the gentle lady. Gentlemen, the gentleman's time has expired. The gentle lady. Why did they say that? Gentle, gentle, gentle my ass. Ed Krasenstein says, what do you think of the renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a distraction away from the wicked agenda of the Trump administration. It's just another silly distraction. It's petty. It's not important. I don't care if they call it the Gulf of Elmer Fudd. As far as I'm concerned, it's the Gulf of Mexico. So what? You know, most of the United States, like particularly the American Southwest and the West, going all the way up, belong to Mexico at one time. Trying to figure out.
And I also
the gentlelady's time has expired.
I also want to acknowledge your.
The gentlelady's time has expired. I now recognize Miss McLean from Michigan.
Point of order. Allocated
you took a minute of my time, wasting my time on a non-point of order. The gentlelady's time has expired. I now recognize
not running during the
Ms.
point
McLean
of order.
from Michigan.
Your time was not wasted. And to the trans
I now
community,
recognize
we
Ms. McLean
stand
from-
with you, with the LGBTQ plus community. We stand with you, and you can
Madam
break
Chair.
my eardrums all you want, Madam Chair, but we stand with the LGBTQ plus community, and you can gavel me till
Order. This hearing
home
will
and it
come to
won't
order.
stop it.
This hearing will come to order.
Madam Chair, I have a
This
question.
hearing will come to order.
Madam Chair,
This hearing will come to order. I now recognize
point of order.
Ms. McLean
I
from
just
Michigan.
have a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me tell you.
Madam Chair, I
yeah.
had a
What's your
point of order. Could we just have the timekeeper, log the time between both the Democrats and Republicans, and then we rebalance them so that we each have equal time? That's pretty basic.
We will consider that. Thank you.
No,
No. You took a minute of my time.
That's not a suggestion.
Okay.
Those are the rules.
Enough.
No.
You're wasting your
Hey,
time.
look,
That's
either we go
we
by
are
the rules
keeping
or
equal
we're
time.
out of here.
We're keeping equal time.
Go.
See, she's trying to be a dictator. She's trying to talk over everybody. She doesn't want to follow the rules, which is typical of a crazy right-wing nut like her. Yeah, I think Gavin Newsom and Senator Murphy would make an outstanding combination for 2028. And they both look very presidential, and they're very competent, very intelligent, very they're outstanding at public speaking. They have charisma, like Barack Obama. They have charisma. I think they would make a dynamic duo. Oof. Now I got acid reflux.
For Trump's reelection?
Yes, I do, because look, I was in charge and he won. So, I take responsibility, number one. But number two, you remember we put together a commission leading with one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate from Oklahoma running it. We came up with a significant means by which we could deal with the border. What did Trump do? He got on the telephone and he called Republicans, do not support it. It's legal, it'll work, it'll make Biden look good, don't do it. And they backed off. They backed off.
Can't someone be impeached for something like that?
Well, secondly, look, what we didn't have a chance to do, and I've been advised not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. No one thought I could get past an over $1 trillion plan to rebuild the country. Well, we made a lot of commitments, and we $1 billion tunnels going through for Amtrak, bridges, so on. But we weren't quite as good as he was about advertising. There's nothing to say Biden brought you this.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying the Democrats brought you this. And we knew none of this would occur for another 6 months to 2 years. It takes time to do all that. I mean, for example, we invented the computer chip. It's a multi-trillion-dollar future. But guess what? Because it was cheaper to get cheaper labor, they sent it overseas, brought the product back home, we lost control. And what happened? We found out we didn't have the sources to do it anymore. So when I got in the plane, I went to South Korea, I went all through Asia, and I got them all to come back and invest several $1 trillion in investments to rebuild these facilities here and us take control of this. That's why, there's multiple parts to make a car. You need all these. And so, but none of it would take place immediately. The same way with, for example, I don't know what last thing I'll say. But one of the things I'm proudest of working for is changing the way in which drug companies can charge you for prescriptions.
Yes.
It's a fundamental change. It's changing people's lives. They can now afford the medicine they need. But it just was kicking in. And so that was a mistake to not be able to advertise, figuratively speaking, and actually that what was doing. But we knew, and I knew this, I knew it wasn't going to happen right away. That all the projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have that done? We're all set up to do it. And last thing, I thought what he would do, I thought he'd come along and be smart. Oh, I shouldn't say it. I thought he'd come along and say he did it. Look, when you have the lovely lady from North Carolina who talked about me with such affection, saying Joe Biden did more than anybody did, and so on, as a criticism.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? I ran as an ad.
That was good.
But my point is that I thought he'd say, no, I brought you this. I brought you healthcare. I brought you this. I brought you that. And this is a guy who left with the largest deficit any president has added when he was the last time president. And cut it to his choice. What's it all about? Cut all these programs, can have another $5 trillion tax cut for the super wealthy. I admire people who can make a hell of a lot of money. Just pay your taxes.
That's right. That's right.
No, I'm not joking. Average billionaire in America pays 8.2%.
That's it?
Must be nice.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
No, I'm not joking.
It's outrageous. That's why
8.2%
we can't have
federal
nice
tax.
things.
Anyway.
No. No. He doesn't seem too out of it. I don't see any severe dementia on his part. Beginning of the end. It's done. IRS. Trump wants to get rid of the IRS and plus have a digital cashless society. Well, he wants naturally he wants to get rid of the IRS because rich Republicans don't want to pay any taxes. That's why. They're greedy, they're stingy, and okay, let me get back. All right, what do we have here? From Twitch, we have a noble ideologue, whatever, Sujit, whatever. I'll just call him a noble ideologue. What? Whatever. He's promoting something that he's doing instead of contributing to the show.
All right, guys, it's over. The IRS as we know it, it is done. Yesterday, over 30% of the IRS's auditors resigned in a single day. Why? Because President Donald Trump just pulled the pin on the biggest financial shakeup in American history. And that's not even the half of it. In fact, at the very same time, right? Very quietly, Social Security just made a change that will permanently impact how every American accesses their identity, their benefits, their future. But there was no press conference. There was no big rollout. But if you're on SSI or SSDI, let me know down in the comments. Or if you're just planning to retire one day in the future, you need to know what just happened. In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys exactly why President Trump's war against the IRS is just the beginning and what he's planning to do with your taxes next. We also need to talk about how your Social Security card's going fully digital this summer and what that really means for your privacy. And why Biden's quiet $8,000 checks for federal retirees, they've got people asking, where's mine? Comment down below if you did not yet get an $8,000 Social Security check yet. I want to hear from you guys. Guys, this is not a drill. This is a permanent shift. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why some are calling this the end of the IRS and the beginning of a cashless, government-tracked future. So stick with me, guys, because we're going to go ahead and expose the truth like we always do right here on the Ron Yates channel. I really appreciate the support. Oh, and if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. So first things first, we need to talk about the resignations that just rocked the IRS, okay? So according to the internal agency sources and corroborated headlines, 31% of IRS tax auditors just quit. Think about that. 31% of IRS tax auditors just quit. That's right, guys. So that's like 1/3 of their entire enforcement staff gone overnight. Why? Because President Trump and his Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, just made it very clear. The days of government overreach through endless audits, they're over. And so here's the kicker. This was the plan all along. Trump signed an executive order halting all new IRS hiring, freezing expansion efforts, and making sure that not a single new agent will be brought in under his watch. Now, if you've ever been audited, drop a quick yes in the comments down below and let me know how much you enjoyed that process. But now, why is this such a big deal? Well, it's because under President Biden, they wanted to add 87,000 new agents. And let me know if you heard that those 87,000 new IRS agents were armed with guns or not. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Anyway, so these 87,000 new IRS agents, they were aimed directly at auditing small businesses, middle-class families, and even tipped workers. Now, if you're a 1099, If you're a 1099 worker or a 1099 business owner, drop a 1099 in the comments, guys.
All right. Well, you need taxes to run a country. All right. Well, I found Gabriel Salaya's comment. Oh, here's a post from Bernie Sanders. Oh, let's see. All right. Let me see if he appeared. Let me see if my message appeared. Hola, Gabriel Salaya. All right. But Gabriel Salaya's comment appeared on my YouTube channel, but it's not appearing here on Restream, so I have to investigate this. I have to investigate this. I don't know. Let me get done. I'm almost finished with the serious part of the show. Let me get it out of the way. I don't have much. I only have one more left. Bernie Sanders.
So why do you think, in our latest Fox News poll, the opinion of the Democratic Party is now at 41% favorable? Why is that? Why is it so underwater?
And the Republicans are a whole lot better.
A little bit better, but not a whole lot, I agree.
I'll tell you why. People understand that the political system in this country is largely corrupt, both parties. Why is that? You know the answer. The answer is that you have billionaires in both political parties determine what legislation gets to the floor and who is the candidate. Right now, let me give you both examples. You're in the Republican Party, and you say, you know what? I don't like this Trump idea of giving massive tax breaks to the rich and cutting Medicaid and education. You get up and say that. What happens to you? The next day, Elon Musk says, I got unlimited amounts of money. We're going to run a candidate in a primary against you. Democratic Party side? What happens if somebody says, you know what? Maybe it's not a good idea to fund Netanyahu's war machine, which is creating starvation for children in Gaza. I'm going to vote against that. Next day, AIPAC is going to be running against you. We have a corrupt campaign finance system. Billionaires in both political parties are calling the tunes. The American people understand that.
Oh, yeah. He, as old as he is 100% sharp, mentally sharp. Okay. As you can see, Bernie Sanders, one of a kind. All right, here's the last one. Elon Musk stiffed people for money just like Donald Trump did. That's what this is, the last one. Oh. Dude. So, Mr. Gabriel Salaya from Buckeye, Arizona, the problem is not with YouTube. It's with Restream. I have to look into it. Let me get this out of the way. Ah, incredible. Stiffing people. Just like Donald Trump did, and he learned that from his father. People getting stiffed. All right. Yeah. Yeah, like I told Anthony, Laura, don't tell me anything about backlash. Nothing. Nothing, because I want to be surprised when I watch it for free on Daily Motion. Okay. Um, let's see. Um, hmm. All right. If there's anyone out there on Twitch or YouTube that have any topics that you want to vent about, anything that's important to you that you want to bring up, doesn't matter what it is, feel free to post it in the commentary section. Uh, let's see. Huh. Um, let's see now. Do you want an I Ching reading on live stream? Okay, that's that. Uh, well, I sent some links out, and Mr. Ed Krasenstein, would you like to come on the show with your webcam? I sent some links out, and these individuals are not around, apparently. So the invitation is open for you if you want to come on. If you do, say yes, and I'll post a link to join right in the commentary section. And if not, I will I'll close the show early. I only use the Daily Motion app on my phone because the Daily Motion app for the TV, I can't find where to log into my account. And the strange thing is every time I do a search for WWE events, nothing comes up. So the Daily Motion app for the television is horrible. It sucks. It's not working. Muscular curves too. In a smooth way. All right, let me see if he'll come on. Let's see if it works this time. Click on that link and then type in the name you want to use, and then that's it. I'll bring you right on. It should work with anybody who uses Google Chrome, Google as a browser. It should work ideally, either Google or Mozilla. All right, let's see if okay, let me see if Sir Anthony Hmm. Hmm. All right. Let me send one to Gabriel Salaya. No. Anthony. I don't know what happened to him. I'm just sending the links out to people that usually come on a show that I know. Let me see if Gabriel Salaya comes on from Buckeye, Arizona. Let's see if he'll come on. If not, that's it. I'll close out the show, but I need to find out before I'll go off the air, but I won't close out the studio because I need to find out why Gabriel Salaya's commentary is not appearing. Hold on for a second. I'll be back in a flash. Oh. Well, I'm still here. I have to go to the restroom. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone. I tried. I sent the links out, but I put premium bait on my hook, but no one's biting. So have an enjoyable Sunday and the new upcoming week, and enjoy the month of May. And until next time,